Why is it important to take the next steps now? Because it can't wait. And I honestly believe that it won't wait.
Hey, I'm Andrea Olson. I've been leading worship and training worship leaders for nearly 20 years, and my mission is to support worship leaders just like you in volunteer-supported ministries because I know what it's like. I've been there. It's amazing, but you have a big job, and sometimes you might feel a little bit alone. But I'm here to remind you that you aren't. We'll cover spiritual and leadership growth, practical resources, and get encouragement from other worship leaders from all over the world. I truly want to see you lead from the overflow, not the overwhelm. So grab a cup of tea or coffee and join me. Welcome to the Overflow Worship Podcast.
Well, happy July, everyone. It's kind of hard for me to believe that we are already in the month of July. I was talking with a friend of mine back in the beginning of June, and we were joking about how when, the first or second week of June hits, it's almost like your brain is thinking about all the things that you got to do this summer, all the schedule, the sports, the vacations, the events, this and that. And you kind of feel like summer is over before it even starts. And so I really have to fight that mentality to be present in the moment, to enjoy the moments, and to make sure that I am taking time to also invest in myself and invest in time with my family and not just go, run all the time, but actually take time to slow down and enjoy the moments, enjoy the summer. And I don't know if you're like that as well, and if you're feeling the same way as me, but I really am trying to embrace that. And it's honestly really difficult for me. And right now I'm in a season of life where it's busy and things are a little bit stressful and a little wild, and there's lots of changes, but also lots of exciting things. And I find myself really struggling with setting aside time for myself, setting aside time to invest in myself. And, in this podcast at Overflow Worship, we talk a lot about the challenges and the joys of life, but specifically in the life of a worship leader. And I just want to take a few moments here at the top of this podcast and help shift our focus a little bit. And I want to talk about something that's really important and that's often overlooked. And that's exactly what I just said, is investing in yourself. And I know that that's a difficult thing, right? I just laid out how busy our lives are and how crazy things have been. And your life probably looks a lot the same. And honestly, it's one of those things that we push to the wayside and we say, it's fine. Like, I'll be fine the way that I am. And I'll get to it some other day. We do it later, and later never comes. And we may feel, maybe you're a mom like me, and it's like, how can I possibly get time for myself? Like, I can't even go to the bathroom alone. And I am a little bit past that season, but it never fails. If my kids are like outside playing and I'm like, I'm going to run to the bathroom quick, they're in like yelling for me inside the house, like wondering where I am. So it is difficult to find that time to invest in ourselves. I totally get it. But here's the thing. It is one of the most powerful ways that you can grow as a ministry leader and that you can make a lasting impact on the people that you have the privilege of serving and leading in your church. Have you ever felt like you're pouring out on empty, like you're leading on empty? I definitely have been there. Like, I'm constantly giving, rarely refilling my own cup. Have you been there? And it's really easy to let ourselves fall into that trap. But here's the thing, as you know, and as what we stand for at Overflow Worship is that we don't lead from overwhelm. We don't lead from empty. We lead from overflow. And that's honestly exactly why we're hosting the Overflow Worship Virtual Retreat for worship leaders. It's July 29th through August 2nd. It's completely free. It's from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central each day, because I know you're busy, so it's just 1 hour a day. But I challenge you to commit to set aside 1 hour a day It's going to completely refuel you, refresh you, let you take a step back and invest in your own growth. I've got some amazing surprise speakers lined up, and I'm so excited about them. You sing their songs in church probably, and it's going to be such a sweet time of learning together, growing together, communing with other worship leaders from all over the world, and also just to be reminded that you're not alone, right? Because we all need that. And it's just something that I never had when I was first starting out in my worship leadership journey. And so I want you to have that. And so all you have to do to join is go to overflowworship.com/retreat, or you can go on Instagram at Overflow Worship Official. That's our handle. And just DM us the word retreat, or comment on any of our posts or stories, the word retreat, but DM us the word retreat, and you can sign up there. It's completely free, and we are going to be refreshed. You're going to be poured into. You're going to be able to set intention for the rest of the year, and also you will have the opportunity to, for the last time in 2024, join our program at Overflow Worship Leaders Online. The doors have been closed all year, and this week is the last chance of the year for you to join our one-year program of guided mentorship and community and growth. So I'm going to continue to talk about investing in yourself throughout the rest of this podcast, but I really wanted to give you this opportunity up at the top to head on over to overflowworship.com/retreat, or DM us the word retreat at Overflow Worship Official on Instagram, and get yourself signed up. It's going to be such a sweet time. So what I want to talk about today is why take the next step? Why is it important to take the next steps now? And what do I mean by next steps? In your journey as a worship leader, why is it important? So I have 3 reasons for you of why it's important to take the next step now, not later, not next year, not in 2 months, not when things slow down. No, it's important now, and here's why. Number 1, because it can't wait. And I honestly believe that it won't wait. Now, let me elaborate on that just a little bit, because it sounds a little bit like, well, duh. Stick with me here. If you've been around the podcast for a while, you've heard me say that daily investments have a cumulative impact on tomorrow, on your future. It really does. Think about it. So like my husband and I have really been investing in our health more than ever. We are holistically minded. We are pretty crunchy people and we have lived healthy for a very long time, but we haven't really hit it hard with making sure that our bodies are the strongest and healthiest that they ever have been and could be. And a lot of times it takes that shift of mentality and that mindset shift of if I don't do it today, then that's going to impact tomorrow. Just like if I do it today, it impacts tomorrow. So either way, whatever you invest, it's going to impact tomorrow. And I believe that taking the next step as a worship leader in your journey of growth, of pursuing growth, pursuing community, pursuing a mentor, pursuing bettering yourself as a leader, it can't wait. And I think that it won't, because burnout is a really real thing. Take it from somebody who knows. Right here, it's me. I have been there. And it's really hard to bounce back from. God is so kind and he's so faithful. And I know that he's been with me on every step of my journey. There's been so many times where I've looked back and I've said, God, you didn't have to do that. You did not have to be so kind. And yet he was. And so he does walk with us on our journeys. But I believe that I've been put here on this earth. One of the reasons I've been put here on this earth in your lives is to help you sidestep some of those things that I didn't and I couldn't. And so investing in our next steps as a worship leader can't wait, because you need to be the strongest, healthiest version of yourself, right? So it absolutely can't wait, because the church needs you, right? And your family needs you to be the healthiest version of yourself. And you know what? Longevity in ministry doesn't just happen. You don't wake up one day and realize I have longevity. Here we go. No, It is daily investments that have a cumulative impact on tomorrow. And so when we take the step and say, hey, I'm going to grow as a leader, I'm going to seek out a mentor, I'm going to seek out a community, I'm going to seek out ways that I can grow, that I can better my craft, I can grow as a leader, that impacts tomorrow. And then as you do that, if you do that consistently, you will wake up one day and look back and realize, oh, all of that made a difference because here I am 10 years in, 20 years in, 30 years in, or whatever God calls you to, and you're still thriving because that's what I want for you. So number one, why it's important to take the next step now on your worship leadership journey is because it can't wait. Longevity depends on it. Number two, I alluded to this already because I get really excited and I just get rolling. I kind of got ahead of myself. But number two is because you need to be the healthiest version of yourself. Why is it important to take this next steps now? Because you need to be the healthiest version of yourself. Well, what does that look like? Okay, we need to be in the Word. We need to have healthy boundaries. We need to be in tune with what's going on in our families, in our church communities. And we can't do that if we're constantly overwhelmed and we're constantly at a space of being depleted and not leading from the overflow. So we as leaders, I wish that I would have known this. I wish that I would have realized at the beginning of my journey that my spiritual health, my emotional and mental health, and even my physical health, all of it impacts my worship journey, like my journey as a worship leader and the churches that I serve, right? And so I wish that I would have taken that time and been like, okay, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to be in the Word, making sure that I don't sacrifice that time because I'm busy doing ministry. I need to make sure that I am refilling and refueling every single day. And I wish that I would have known that it was okay to have healthy boundaries, that it was okay for me to say no to things, because in ministry, it seems like everything is good. And so we want to say yes to everything from a good place in our hearts. But everything we say yes to does mean we say no to something else. And honestly, oftentimes that means we're saying no to our family. And I don't believe that's the way it should be. And so why is it important to take the next steps now, to start that investment now, is because you need to be the healthiest version of yourself for longevity in ministry. And that's what I want for you. I want you to have longevity in ministry. So why is it important? Number one, because it can't wait. Longevity depends on it. Number two, because you need to be the healthiest version of yourself, and it has to start today. It has to start now. And number three, because the church needs the healthiest version of you. We need to first of all make sure that we're grounded and that we are strong in our own walks with the Lord, in our own lives. Like I talked about before, being in the Word, in worship, having healthy boundaries, all of those things. Because if we don't step into ministry or walk through ministry with that in place, your priorities are going to become twisted. They're going to get out of alignment. And because if we don't have those boundaries in place and those healthy foundations in place, my dad always used to say, like, hey, if you don't live your life, someone else will gladly live it for you. Or if you don't, take the reins, someone else will gladly take them for you. And what he meant was we have to be like grounded in who we are and in what we know God has called us to, grounded in the Word, grounded in who He says we are, and grounded in what we know He's called us to, so that as we step into ministry, we can lead from that place, right? And we still have, a heart for sacrifice and a heart for service. Of course, that is absolutely core for all of us as leaders, to come at it from a place of humility and honor and willingness to serve. But we have to make sure that we aren't sacrificing everything on the altar of ministry busy, that our families, our health, our peace, and all of those things, you fill in the blank how it fits for you, that we're we're not sacrificing all of those things on the altar of saying yes to everything in ministry just because we think we should and because it's good. No, that is not the way that a healthy leader operates. And the church needs a healthy, grounded leader. We need healthy, grounded leaders now more than ever. Why is that? Why does the church need it? Because you're the future of worship in the church. Think about it. You are a part of what is next in the church. And that is so powerful. It makes me so excited to think about getting to walk alongside of worship leaders in the church who are pioneering the raising up the next generation, because you are the future of worship in the church. You are the future impact in the church. And so we need healthy, grounded leaders now. And so we need to start that process. We need to take the next steps in our growth as leaders now. We need to say no to all of the noise, no to all of the busy, no to all of the things that try to steal our attention and our joy and our peace, and say, wait a minute, I just need some time. I got to go before the Lord with this. I got to refuel. I got to refill. I got to take this time and make sure that I am walking and leading with clarity and focus. And we cannot do that if we are not leading from the overflow, which means we can't do that if we're not investing in being the healthiest version of ourselves, for our families, for our own lives, and for the churches that we serve, whether it's the one you're in now or one that God called you to in 10 years. But it starts now because, like I said, our investments every day have a cumulative impact on tomorrow. You know, the enemy doesn't like us. He doesn't like you. He doesn't like Christ followers. And you're going to be on the front lines. You are on the front lines. But that's why we need to be ready. That's why it's important. So why do we take the next step? Why do we grow as leaders? Why is it important to take the next step now? Number one, because it can't wait. Longevity in ministry depends on it. Number two, because you need to be the healthiest version of yourself for you, for your family. And number three, because the church needs you to be the healthiest version of yourself. They may not even know it, but they're going to thank you for it. They're going to be grateful that you are a grounded, healthy individual coming in and saying, like, I know who I am in Christ, and I know where He's leading me, and I am here to serve, and I'm excited to serve in this way. And so that's what it looks like to lead as the healthiest versions of ourselves, right? So why do we do all this? Why? Why is it important? Why does it matter? Why? Because you're like, I'm doing the thing. I'm worship leading. I'm like, already in a worship position and I'm loving it. And, I think I'll just ride the wave, right? You could. That's what I did. That is what I did. And you know what? This is what I've learned in 20 years of worship ministry. This is what I've learned. And this is what I teach to all of the people that I mentor inside of our program, all the leaders that we have inside of our program at Overflow Worship Leaders Online, the program that is opening up for the last time of 2024 during our virtual retreat. This is what I tell them. Why is it important? We do the hard work now so that when the tough times come, when you're challenged, when you're stretched, when you're pushed, when you're tired, when you want to quit, you're able to press on, you're able to get through, you're able to thrive because you did the work, because you have the tools. They're sharpened, they're ready, and you can use them to get to the other side. They help us get through the hard, through the challenges. And we also have the people. We do the work now. We invest in the community now. We get a mentor now so that we have the people in our lives when the hard times come, because then they're with us. They coach us through it. They're like, oh, I've been there. It's hard. Let me walk with you. Let me cheer you on. Let me help you. Let me encourage you. Can you imagine with me a life where you're confidently leading? You are joy-filled. You are truly building a life in ministry that you absolutely love. Imagine yourself 1 year from now, 1 year from today, and you look back and maybe you and I, maybe we're sitting down, we're having coffee, and you're telling me about the best year of your life, what would you be saying? What would have to happen in order for you to have had the best year of your life in worship ministry? I know that everybody's situation is different, but I do know this. I do know that it is possible for you to be in that spot 1 year from now, telling a friend that you truly love your life in ministry. Can you see it? Imagine that life. Grab onto it and then take the next steps now. Do whatever you have to do to get there. And I promise you, you won't regret it. Your longevity in ministry depends on it. And as I wrap up this podcast for today, I hope that you are encouraged and you walked away with some practical tips, these tools, these 3 things you can take with you to remind you why it's important to keep investing now every day. And if you are at the point where you're like, yep, I'm ready, let's go, let's do it, come to the virtual retreat. You can join from the comfort of your home. You don't have to travel, you don't have to get a ticket, fly anywhere, hotels, nothing. It's free. Join us online, commit to it. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday, July 29th through August 2nd. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be transformative. It's going to help you set intention for the rest of 2024. So the rest of the year is just awesome. And you will also be invited to join our program at Overflow Worship Leaders Online. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to join the retreat, head to overflowworship.com/retreat or head to Overflow Worship Official on Instagram and DM us the word retreat and you'll get all the details. It's super easy to sign up and I hope to see you there. I'm really excited for all that God is going to do in and through this retreat, for the surprise guests I have to share with you. I'm excited for that too and all the special things that we have planned. But I hope that you know that we're with you, we're for you, we pray for you at Overflow Worship. And, if you enjoy the podcast, we would love it if you'd hit subscribe. And we would really love it if you would head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. That really helps us reach more people and know how we can deliver you really helpful content. All right, everybody, that's it for today. Until next time, keep on thriving.